What is up everybody, it is me DevilNeverCry, and in today's video I want to go over some of the new details we got for DMC5 SE at TGS. As always, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with anything and everything DevilNeverCry and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out when new content drops. So getting right into the swing of things, we've known for a couple of weeks now that DMC5 SE would appear at Tokyo Game Show, and we knew that Capcom would hold some sort of live stream event for the game and discuss some details. A lot of us were expecting a lot of Virgil gameplay, or a focus on Virgil. Some of us were expecting some other things like Ladies Night DLC, things like that. But moments before the stream was set to go live, Matt Walker, one of the producers on DMC5 and DMC5 SE, tweeted out stating that, just to set expectations, there's not going to be a focus on Virgil for this event, and they're not going to show his weapons or any of his moves. Now immediately that set social media alight with the producer stating weapons plural, implying that perhaps Virgil has more weapons to play with than just the Yamato. Again, it could just be an error in regards to the wording, considering it's social media, people kind of just post whatever, don't necessarily think about things. But at the same time, producer did go on to like a few of the tweets, pointing out that he used weapons plural and, going off on a tangent like that. So perhaps he will get more weapons, perhaps he won't, who knows, I guess only time will tell. Moving straight on though, we get into the TGS live stream again. We've had our expectations set, we know there's not going to be a lot of Virgil, and Capcom kind of stuck to their guns with that, and a lot of what they showed off was essentially things that we knew already. They essentially just gave us an extended look on some of the features for DMC5 SE, so they showed off more of turbo mode, stated that again it would be a 20% increase in the gameplay speed. This was included in 5 SE specifically because there were a lot of people asking for it. They went off into the history of turbo mode and how they came about and how it was a feature in the previous games, and basically diving into the whole PAL edition and NTSC edition and the fact that one game ran slower, so in development they raised the speed to have parity between the two versions of the game, and that kind of gave them the idea to just increase the overall base game speed, and found that 20% was a sweet spot, with things like 30% being obviously a lot faster and frenetic, but you lose a lot of the control you have over the character, so they kind of dialed it back, and 20 was the sweet spot that they found. Then they go off onto the ray tracing, discuss next-gen consoles, their capabilities, talk about reflections, lighting, how it adds to the ambience and atmosphere of the game. A lot of people in chat at this point were popping off, kind of not too pleased with things, but then they moved on to Legendary Dark Knight mode, and they showed off some more extended gameplay of this mode. We can see that there's up to 50 enemies in a single encounter, which is pretty insane because it literally is just like DMC Dynasty Warriors edition, just like any other Muso game you got out there. It was crazy, especially with the graphical fidelity of 5. They stated that it wouldn't be possible with current gen consoles, and how LDK was set to take advantage of next gen capabilities, Again, things that we've pretty much heard before. And then we move on to Virgil, and the development team all seem to be quite pleased. Itsuno states he's finally happy that this is a thing, because now people will stop spamming "Where's Virgil DLC" at him on social media and Twitter and such. But they literally showed 10 seconds of Virgil, I kid you not. They literally counted out 10 seconds and we pretty much got almost nothing. We got one single move from Virgil, which, hands down I'll say is pretty cool. It seems to be a quick draw strike of some sorts, where he puts the striked enemies into sort of a slow-mo state, and then as he sheathes his sword, classic anime or game cliche, enemies pop off, and there's a knockback effect, and they're knocked back towards Virgil, kind of setting them up for a combo, which is a pretty cool move, I must say. But one other thing I do want to mention about this short gameplay snippet is something that maybe alludes to the concentration meter, which, if you've seen my previous trailer analysis, I kind of went more into this, where, there were specific sections where Virgil had an after image during his gameplay when he was attacking enemies, and I kind of stated perhaps that was a higher level of concentration. Well, we got more of a look of that in this 10-second snippet of gameplay, where Virgil's simply attacking enemies. There seems to be a flash effect with perhaps some chromatic aberration, a flash of blue, And then all of a sudden Virgil starts to have this after effect in his attacks. Perhaps that was him leveling up in the concentration meter mechanic. That is my interpretation of the scene perhaps, but again, something that I didn't see too many people pick up on, but which I thought was cool nonetheless. And then we come onto the pricing of DMC5 SE, and they go on record to state that it will be $39.99 US on next gen. But if you're stuck on previous gen or PC and you want to pick up the Virgil DLC, which again is a separate release, that'll only be $4.99 USD, which again, competitive prices, fairly cheap. A lot of people weren't expecting it, myself included at one point. So I think it's great that to have that at that price, regardless of the whole PC debacle and that disappointment. But that essentially rounds out the whole TGS presser. They go off to show this big old Dante statue, which has nothing to do with 5 SE and is pretty cool. But that's all the details we got from Tokyo Game Show and Capcom in general. And I guess the last thing to touch upon is the fact that the game is obviously still in development. It's 2 months away, or less than 2 months away at this point, but they are working hard to meet the next gen launch deadline, so to speak. But that's pretty much it. What do you think? Are you pleased with what we got? Are you not so pleased? Are you going to pick this up? Are you not going to pick this up? Are you going to get it on next gen? Are you going to get it on current gen? I myself was kind of surprised at the fact that they didn't focus on Virgil. They know their audience, they know what people are wanting to watch and see. I guess it's fair enough they did give a heads up just before the event to kind of set expectations, stating that no Virgil would be here. And I guess for the majority of people who don't necessarily tune in to every single piece of DMC information, it was nice of them to go over some things in depth, so that those people who aren't keeping up with all the articles and videos can have all the information in one place. But again, people want to see Virgil, and that 10-second tease, man, 10-second tease was cruel, too cruel. But that is going to be it for this video. It has been me, DevilNeverCry. I would like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.